Day 187. Today I'm going to be talking about Gate 50 in human design, the splenic gates that basically it's been a while, but went back in my stories and I realized I didn't finish all the fear gates, and so I want to talk to you all about them. And so we already did gate 44, 48, and 57. So now we are going down to gate 50. And when it comes to like money, this gate in the lowest expression is like fearing taking on more than you can handle. And so sometimes the way it might appear is that if you have that belief that you need to work hard to make money, you may also have this fear that, oh my God, like, what if I take on all these tasks and all these things for like, like either working at the office or working on your business, and you're like, well, what if I can't do it all? And you become overwhelmed with that thought, or with taking on all those things, you become overwhelmed. And so this gate is actually in the highest expression. It's beautiful because it is like the love for community. It is, wanting to take care of and nurture others. And so it is important to follow your strategy and authority with this gate, because sometimes what happens is that because you have this care for the community, because you desire to like help and guide and be there for people, sometimes you forget to put on your oxygen mask first, and you just say yes to everybody. And then you end up in a situation where you're doing more than you can take on. And then sometimes what would happen there is that it kind of swings to the other end of the pendulum, where you had that situation where you took on so much, you may have burned out, or those situations did not turn out well. Something happened, and then it went on to the other side of the pendulum, being like, well, no, now I'm not going to take on any of this, because when this happened last time, I burnt out, or this happened or that happened. Again, using past evidence as an example that it will happen again, but that's not necessarily always the case. You are the creator of your own reality. And so in order to navigate through this gate, if you do have gate 50, whether it is colored in red or black, navigating it would look like, one, taking care of you first, putting your oxygen mask first, filling your cup until your cup is so overflowing that you can give to others, and using your intuition, using your strategy and authority. If your sacral is saying no, or if, your spleen is saying no, if you're following those intuitive hits that your authority is giving you, and not so much what your mind is saying, then you will be using the gift of the high vibration of being there for people, holding space for people, guiding people, and using that love for the community for the right situations. And so then what would happen is you won't get overwhelmed, because you have already set your boundaries by following your strategy and authority. And if you desire to have a life where money flows to you easily and effortlessly, without necessarily taking on more than you need to, or fearing that you need to take on more, but that's not true, then you can have that. It's just a matter of like rewiring your thoughts and your mind, that you can create whatever reality you desire to create around money, around life, around dreams and goals and desires. And so sometimes we just end up looking at past evidence of when we burnt out, or past evidence when things did not work out, and that is an example of like that it would happen again. But that is not necessarily true, because you can change that. You have that power within you to do that. And so this gate is, if you have it, it's all about boundaries. It's all about following your intuition, and it is really getting out of your mind. And if it's like, sometimes we say like, oh, I have to do this. I have to. We put all these obligations on ourselves and all these excuses that it needs to be a certain way, or that we have to help this person, or that we have to do this, even though our intuition is screaming no. And so this is where it is important to sit with yourself and see what your intuition is saying, and seeing why does your mind feel this obligation to say yes? Why does your mind feel this obligation to take on more? Where does that come from? Is it because you need to work hard to make money? Is it because, if you are working in the corporate world, that if you don't take on this role or this position, that the money that comes with that role won't ever appear to you, that it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity? Like, what is it that is creating this fear and these thoughts around money when those situations pop up? Because if you have like a job offer that they're like, oh, like this job offer is going to be 120K salary, which you're like, that's my dream money. That's a dream that I desire to make. But then you look at the position, or you look at those tasks and responsibilities, and you're not excited. You're not excited about it. You're just like, well, it's fine. Like, your intuition's not like, woo, like, this is amazing. Like, you're just kind of like, logically it makes sense. And, like, I'm making more money, so the responsibilities are more. And if you're going with that sense, then you're going to accept it. You're going to take on more than you can handle. And then at the end of the day, is that 120K really worth it? You might think to yourself that, but then it's like, can you make 120K without necessarily adding all those like lists of responsibilities in an office job? Yes, you can. If you create that in your reality, you'll be surprised of the amount of people that just get raises to get raises. Like, they are obviously good at their job, but they are not necessarily meaning working harder. So people are just working smarter. Little thing to think about. And same thing when it comes to clients. If you are an entrepreneur, if this client comes to you and they are willing to pay you your highest offer, but your intuition is like, something's off, something's not clicking. I don't know what, but it's not clicking. But logically, they're willing to pay me 10K, and I've never had a client be willing to pay me 10K, so I'm going to take it. And then that client turns to be not an ideal client for you. So this is how Gate 50 looks in that low expression of like taking on more than we can handle. And then that evidence kind of like follows through, like that, thinking that, oh, like, I accepted that 10K client that one time, it turned out to be a disaster. Now I'm afraid that like, oh, does a client paying 10K actually really mean that I need to like deal with all that work that I dealt with last time? No. But our mind creates that evidence, right? It created that evidence, and then it's just like, oh, well, that's the example. It happened then. It'll probably happen again, but not necessarily. So, Gate 50, listen to your strategy authority, put boundaries, fill up your cup first, take care of you, put your oxygen mask on first. And that is it for today's live. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will speak to you tomorrow.